We will start here. D black elements. Generally, we will study D and A black together. First, we will see D black, then after, we will discuss A black elements. What is a D black element? D black elements are the elements. The differentiating electron enter into the D subshell. The differentiating electron enter into the D subshell, and those electrons we can call, those elements we can call D black elements. What is a differentiating electron? So differentiating electron means it is a lost electron, so which enter into the D subshell. So we can say the D black based on the differentiating electron. Differentiating electron, simply we can say lost electron. Enter into D subshell. And these D black elements are placed in a periodic table at mid of the periodic table. And if you see the periodic table, like this, this portion we have at mid of the part of the periodic table, we have the D black. So why they placed it in mid of the periodic table means they will show the properties in between S and P black. This is a S black and this is a P black, and they are placed in between S and P black, and these D black elements can show the properties between the S and P black. They can act as a transition between S and P black. So hence D black elements also called transition elements. Transition elements. Because they are in between S and P black. So we can have these D black elements mainly in 3 series, but 4th series also we have, that is incomplete. And these D black elements will start from the 4th period onwards. We have the 3 series, mainly 3D series, 4D series, 5D series, and apart from this we have the 6D. 6D is completely filled, but you can see in the insert some textbooks, some material, they will mention that it is incomplete. But some elements newly discovered, they are included in the 6D series also. But the chemistry of 6D elements are not well known so far, so we will not worry much about the 6D. So mainly our focus is 3D, 4D, and 5D. A 3D series will start from 4th period onwards, and 4D series will be present in the 5th period, and the 5D series you can see in the 6th period, and 6D series you can see in the 7th period. And the 3D series, So in 3D series, the element will start from scandium and end with zinc. Scandium to zinc. In case of 4D series, it will start from yttrium to the cadmium. The starting element is yttrium and the end element is cadmium. In case of 5D series, it will start from lanthanum, but in between we have some gap, there is a lanthanide gap, and then after immediately we have the hafnium, then hafnium to lost mercury. The next 6D series, it will start from actinium. Again here we can see some gap between actinium and rutherfordium. Then it will end with copernicium, Cn. So here we have some gap. Here also we have some gap, and this gap is lanthanides. There are 14 elements, lanthanides from cerium to lutetium. These are the 14 elements we will present between lanthanum and hafnium. Similarly, here this gap is or the actinides, 14 elements. Again, they are from thorium to lawrencium. So these two groups we can again study separately. There is a black elements. 3D, 4D, 5D. So our main focus here 3D, 4D, 5D. In that too, main focus is on the 3D series. Especially we will focus 3D. Apart from that, we will see some trends with respect to 4D and 5D also. We will not worry much about the 6D series. So all these D black elements, so they are in between S and P black, hence we can call transition. But according to the older definition, transition elements means in between S and P, that means D black. But according to the new definition, a transition element is different and a D black element is different. That is the new definition for transition element. So these are the elements which are having incomplete D configuration or incomplete filled D electrons in its ground state or any of the most common oxidation state. The type of elements we can call transition elements. And if the D orbital is completely filled in its ground state or any of its common oxidation state, then the type of elements we cannot call them as a transition elements. They are D black elements. Here especially zinc, cadmium and mercury, if you see their electronic configuration, D orbitals are completely filled, whether you take in ground state configuration or any of the common oxidation state. Here for D block's case, the common oxidation state is +2. In +2 oxidation state, these elements, zinc, cadmium, mercury, they are having D10 configuration. So they cannot be referred as a transition elements. We can call them as the D black elements. So here transition elements we can define like this. Elements which consist incompletely filled D orbitals. In ground state or any of its oxidation state. Element which consists in completely filled D orbitals in ground state or any of its oxidation state. Means the configuration should be like this. They should have n-1 D1 to 9 configuration. And this type of electronic configuration, if you observe, and they are called transition elements. And if you see, the electronic configuration is like n-1 D10 configuration, whether in its ground state or any of oxidation state, then they are called D black. They are not transition elements. Especially here, zinc, cadmium and mercury. So very, very important. And these three elements are D black elements, not transition elements. Transition elements. So they are D black elements only. In case of zinc, if you see, the electronic configuration of zinc is, it is that the valency shell. Argon 3d10 4s2 configuration. Argon 3d10 4s2 means D orbital is completely filled Any of its common oxidation state. Generally zinc can show most common oxidation state is +2. In +2 oxidation state, these 2 electrons can be removed, and again the electronic configuration is argon 3d10. So whether you see a ground state configuration or any of excited state configuration or any of its oxidation state, it is completely filled d orbitals, and zinc is the d black element, not transition element. Similarly cadmium mercury case also. So we can make one statement here regarding to this, that is, all transition elements are d black but not vice versa, means all d black elements are not transition elements. We can write here all transition elements are d black elements. But all d black elements are not transition elements. This is a very, very important point. Now we will see the common properties of these group elements. First of all, with the general electronic configuration. We start with general electronic configuration. What is the general electronic configuration of these elements? It is very, very important. The general electronic configuration of d black elements is n-1, d1 to 10, ns1 to 2. This is the general electronic configuration. It's a very, very important. But there is one exception, exception with the palladium. Exception with palladium. With the palladium electronic configuration is krypton 4d10 5s0. So there is no s electron here. We have only 4d10 electrons. Actually the electronic configuration is n-1 d1 to 10 and ns1 to 2. But here there is no s electron. This is the exception for the general electronic configuration. Remaining cases you can see all 3D, 4D, 5D series n-1, D1 to 10 or ns1 to 2. Let us see these elements here, all 3D, 4D, 5D, especially we will go with the 3 series elements. First let us take 3D series. We will start with the scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper and zinc. Similarly 4D and 5D series elements. Again write scandium, yttrium and lanthanum, titanium, zirconium, hafnium, vanadium, niobium, molybdenum, tantalum. Molybdenum next will come. Vanadium, niobium, tantalum, next chromium, molybdenum, tungsten, manganese, technetium is rhenium, iron, ruthenium, osmium, cobalt, rhodium, iridium, nickel, palladium, platinum, copper, silver, gold, zinc, cadmium, mercury. So these are the 3D, 4D, 5D series elements. If you see their general electronic configuration, scandium, we have 3D1, 4s2 configuration, titanium, 3D2, 4s2, vanadium, 3D3, 4s2, chromium we have exception, that is 3D5, 4s1 due to the stable electronic configuration, abnormal electronic configuration for chromium, and manganese again regular configuration 3D5, 4s2, and iron 3D6, 4s2, and the cobalt 3D7, 4s2, nickel 3D8, 4s2, again we have exception configuration with the copper 3D10, 4s1, and zinc 3D10, 4s2. These are the electronic configurations, valence shell electronic configurations, S and S, D and S electronic configurations. Similarly, 4D and 5D case. In case of 4D, you can write similar to the 3D series electronic configuration. If you remember this 3D series, you can easily identify 4D and 5D also. 4D, this is 4D1, 5s2. Similarly, lanthanum case, in place of 4D, we can take 5D1, 6s2. But here some exception configurations are there. They are the elements with niobium. We can observe the abnormal electronic configuration, molybdenum, technetium, ruthenium, rhodium, palladium, silver, gold, and platinum. These elements can show some abnormal electronic configuration just like chromium and copper. In case of 3D series, we have two elements. They can show abnormal electronic configuration, that is due to the stability. Similarly also the remaining elements, niobium, molybdenum, technetium, ruthenium, and these elements. And their electronic configuration, you can easily identify also the abnormal electronic configuration of these elements. You can see abnormal electronic configuration. In case of 3D series, you have two elements, chromium and copper. Whose electronic configuration? There is a 3D5 chromium, 4s1 to get the stable electronic configuration, off-field configuration 3D5, and the copper case full-field electronic configuration 3D10. And in 4D series, we have so many elements in 4D series. They are from almost niobium to the silver. Niobium, molybdenum, technetium, ruthenium, rhodium, palladium, and silver. Just you keep this palladium little away. Why? Because palladium electronic configuration, we know that this is 4D10, 5s2. Sorry, 5s0. 4D10, 5s0. But in case of the remaining elements, you can see the n plus L value, they can have some abnormal behavior, and the electron change is only one. We can see one electron in case of s orbital. Only in case of palladium, so s orbital is completely incompleted. In case of palladium, the s orbital is completely vacant. Only 4D is completely filled. But niobium, molybdenum, technetium case, so we have one electron in s orbital. Then how to write this niobium electronic configuration? There is quite below there is vanadium configuration. If you remember it, you can write What is the vanadium configuration? That is 3d3 4s2. So here you can write this is 4d3, but we have to take one electron from s orbital. We have 4d4 5s1 configuration. I'll write here itself, then you'll come to see here niobium, just like this configuration, 4d3, but one electron will shift here. You'll get 4d4 5s1, little abnormal configuration. And molybdenum case, this is already similar to chromium only. Anyhow, this is abnormal configuration itself. 4d5 5s1. Technetium, it is 4d6 5s1. Just you shift one electron from s orbital to the d orbital. In case of ruthenium, 4d7 5s1. In case of rhodium, 4d8 5s1. Palladium is the exception. Completely s2 electron, 2 electrons will shift into the 4d. Get 4d10. And copper, this is 4d10 5s1. Similarly, gold also, that is 5d10 6s1 configuration. And platinum, this is 5d10, sorry, this is 5d9, only one electron, 5d9 6s1. So you observe only one electron difference here. Then the regular electronic configuration and abnormal electronic configuration with respect to d orbital in case of niobium, molybdenum, technetium, ruthenium, rhodium, silver, gold, platinum, copper and chromium. These elements you can see only one electron difference is there. Then the regular, expected and abnormal configuration. But in case of palladium, there are 2 electron differences there, actually 4d8, but we have 4d10 configuration. These are the abnormal electronic configurations of these d black elements. Mainly how to focus here the general electronic configuration. Apart from that, 3D series, especially chromium and copper is important, and palladium also some abnormal behavior, exception configuration. This you should remember. So now we will see here atomic radii. So here all d black elements are metals. Here atomic radii nothing but metallic radii only. In case of 3D series, again the metallic radii. And unlike S and P blocks case, the physical properties you can see some abnormal behaviors in case of d black. You cannot observe the regular properties. Some abnormal changes, that is mainly due to the similar energy of n-1 d orbital and ns orbitals. The energy values are almost the same. That is why they will show some abnormal properties with respect to atomic radii, ionization energies, electron reduction potential values, density values, some. Anyhow, we will see one by one here. First, atomic radii. Again, if you see the 3D series, the atomic radii from scandium to almost manganese. You can see one kind of change. Then after manganese to nickel, you can see one kind of observation. Again from nickel to zinc, you can see other observation. Here scandium to manganese, the atomic radii decreases. Scandium to manganese, atomic radii, that is metallic radii decreases, and manganese to nickel almost constant. The atomic metallic radii is almost constant. Again nickel to zinc, the metallic radii increases. So there is no regular trend. Initially it will decrease to the mid of the group elements, then after it is constant up to nickel. Again at the end of the series the atomic metallic radii increases. Why it is? Why it will show this kind of the behavior? The reason here, 2 factors mainly influence. One is the effective nuclear charge, that is Z effective, and second one metallic bonding. The second one metallic bond.
A metallic bond depends on the number of unpaired electrons. As the unpaired electrons increases, metallic bonding increases. It depends on the number of unpaired electrons. First, if we see effective nuclear charge, generally effective nuclear charge, if you move from scandium to zinc, in this it is the same period. In the same period, effective nuclear charge increases. So, scandium to zinc, the effective nuclear charge increases. It increases completely. If effective nuclear charge increases, ultimately the size should be decreased. Means what? From scandium to the zinc, the metallic radii should be decreased with respect to the effective nuclear charge. But apart from this effective nuclear charge, we have one more factor influence here, that is a metallic bond. What is it? Number of unpaired electrons. So, as the number of unpaired electrons increases, the bonding nature increases. As the metallic bonding nature increases, ultimately the size decreases. So, hence from scandium to manganese, you can observe the regular behavior only. Scandium to manganese, Z effective increasing. As scandium to manganese, the number of unpaired electrons also increase. Scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, the number of unpaired electrons increases. So, metallic bonding also increases, and initially it increases. So, resultant what happens? The metallic radii anyhow decreases. Why? Because Z effective and this number of unpaired electrons both are supporting to decreasing the atomic radii from scandium to manganese. Fine. But come to the manganese to nickel. We have the manganese electronic configuration. Here is 3d5, 4s2. So, then after we have the iron case 3d6 configuration. 3d6 means we have to add one electron to overcome the inter-electron repulsions. Already 5 electrons are there, but we are adding one electron, means we have to pair up with opposite spin, and this pairing causes some repulsions, and we can observe some inter-electronic repulsions with elements from manganese to nickel. One electron, 3d5, 3d6, 3d7, 3d8, so on. We are adding one electron to that 3d5 electronic configuration. So, from manganese to nickel, you can see inter-electronic repulsions, increase in inter-electronic repulsions. If the inter-electronic repulsions increases, ultimately what happens? The electron cloud will expand to minimize that repulsions. If the electron cloud expands, automatically size will increase. So, in this region, means that from manganese to nickel, this number of electrons, is the metallic bonding nature, it increases gives the increment to the size. It influences that increasing the metallic radii, and here Z effective shows that it is decreasing the metallic radii. Z effective supporting that decreasing metallic radii, and number of unpaired electrons supporting to increase the metallic radii. So, here almost both forces are almost equal. So, they will be mutually cancelled out. Effective nuclear charge and inter-electronic repulsions, they will be mutually cancelled out. So, you can see almost the constant radii between manganese to nickel. Then after nickel to zinc. So, still the number of electrons added will be increased. Then further the inter-electronic repulsions increases. Means in this case the inter-electronic repulsions dominate over the effective nuclear charge. So, more inter-electronic repulsions causes more expansion of the electron cloud. So, that is why resultant from nickel to zinc, the metallic radii increases. So, like this you can see some abnormal behavior from scandium to zinc in case of 3D series. Initially it will decrease regular anyhow, Z effective can support, but from manganese to nickel, here inter-electronic repulsions and the effective nuclear charge both are almost opposite in direction, means they can give opposite forces. And nickel to zinc, here inter-electron repulsions causes more dominating factor than the effective nuclear charge. So, inter-electronic repulsions expands the electron cloud, so size will be increased. Now, similarly, if we see from top to bottom, that is left to right in the period, top to bottom, anyhow from 3D to 4D series. Top to bottom we know that radii increases. So 3D to 4D increases. But if we see from 4D to 5D, here almost same. 4D series, 5D series, they are having a group elements, so similar size. Why here? 4D and 5D series, they are having almost similar size. That is mainly due to the lanthanide contraction. I use one word, lanthanide contraction. Lanthanide contraction from where we observe, again if we see these elements, in 5D series case, after lanthanum, we have the gap here, almost 14 elements. They are from cerium to lutetium. Due to the presence of these 14 elements, then ultimately the positive charge on the nucleus increases, the Z effective will increase. And these 14 electrons which are present in these generally F electrons, F14 electrons, and these F14 electrons cannot suppress the nuclear force on the valency electron that much. Why? Because the penetrating the screening effect, the shielding effect is very less for F electrons. So that is why the nuclear force is very high on the hafnium and tantalum and so on, next elements. Then they can pull the valence electrons very effectively towards, then that is why the size between zirconium and hafnium we can see almost similar, equal, niobium, tantalum and molybdenum, this one. But in case of first series, if you see scandium, yttrium, lanthanum, in these three elements there is no lanthanide effect. Why? Because there is no lanthanum involvement here, so there is no 14 elements. After lanthanum only, the elements which are coming after lanthanum, that is from hafnium onwards, we can see this effect. So 4D, 5D series, here zirconium, hafnium, niobium, tantalum, molybdenum, and these are having almost similar size up to cadmium and mercury. But yttrium, lanthanum, there is exception. Why? Because there is no lanthanide contraction. So here metallic radii. So 3D to 4D increases, generally top to bottom increases, but 4D to 5D case it will decrease. The reason is lanthanide contraction, that is the involvement of 14 elements, and the 14 positive charge increases in the nucleus, but that 14 positive charge cannot be neutralized or nullified by the 14 F electrons due to the poor shielding effect. So you can see here scandium is having less, yttrium and lanthanum. Here we can see the regular trend. Top to bottom the metallic radii increases, but after lanthanum onwards, that is titanium is having less, but zirconium, hafnium, they are almost, we cannot say exactly, but they are having almost a similar atomic radii. This is very important. Especially zirconium, hafnium, they are having similar size. Due to that, they can show sometimes similar properties also. They'll ask you question about this zirconium and hafnium, you should remember. So why not in case of these scandium, yttrium, lanthanum means there is no lanthanide contraction between yttrium and lanthanum. So if you see these metallic radii graphically, we can observe like this. Let me take here atomic number and here atomic radii. For scandium to the, let us take scandium, the atomic number increases, atomic number increases, atomic radii decreases. Let us start with scandium. Decreases up to what? Up to almost manganese, and then after we can see almost constant, and this is the element of manganese, and then after up to nickel it will change, and then after it will increase up to zinc. So this is the one. This is for 3D series. If I take 4D and 5D, In case of 4D series, we can see the change like this. Almost here also, the mid of the elements, it decreases, again it will increase. You can see this kind of observation here. And similarly, and 5D. 4D and 5D, they are having almost a similar atomic radii. You can observe the graphs. And this is 5D and this is 4D series. So they are having almost a similar size, but here we can see the quite difference. So 3D series is having less atomic radii than the 4D and 5D. Okay. Next we will see ionization energy. Ionization energy. Again, in 3D series first, we have the different size behavior left to right from scandium to manganese decreases, manganese to nickel constant, and nickel to zinc is again increases. And we know the 3D series left to right, effective nuclear charge increases. If the effective nuclear charge increases, ultimately ionization energy increases. Again, still we can see some abnormal behavior here. You cannot go for the regular increasing in ionization energy. The ionization energy values is like this. First, ionization energy of 3D series elements. Left to right increases. Anyhow, scandium is having less ionization energy than the titanium. But there is exception. Titanium is having more ionization energy than the vanadium. Again, vanadium is having less, regular only. Again, chromium is having less than manganese. And manganese is having less ionization energy than the iron. Up to this again regular. But again from iron onwards, iron is having more ionization energy than the cobalt. Cobalt is having more than nickel. Again, nickel is, again these three elements you can see regular behavior. Again, in case of copper and zinc, it is copper. In case of copper and zinc, more Z effective and more ionization energies. This is the ionization energies of 3D series elements. And why we can observe this irregular behavior in case of titanium and vanadium, and also in case of iron, cobalt, nickel. Let us see first this case, then we can apply that for other also. Yet again, two factors influence here. One is anyhow Z effective. We know that effective nuclear charge. Again, scandium to zinc increases. So if the scandium to zinc increases, we know that ionization energy increases in general. Then second factor. First of all, what is ionization energy? So it is the energy required to remove the electron. Now, if you remove the electron from scandium, the electronic configuration for the scandium 3D1 4s2. When we remove electron from 3D1, you will get electronic configuration 3D1 4s1. But this you cannot write this electronic configuration. It will not no longer exist like this. It will become like 3D2 electronic configuration. Why? Because this is a scandium 3D1 4s1 scandium plus. Scandium plus means the positive nature increases. As the positive nature increases, Z effective values increases. The Z effective increases, it can pull the electron from valency shell. So it will pull this 4s electron into the 3D orbital. So it will decrease one shell. You will get 3D2 configuration due to the effective nuclear charge. Similarly, in case of titanium, actual configuration 3D2 4s2. Again, if you see the ionization energy, if you remove one electron, we will get 3D2 4s1. Again, this configuration will become as 3D3. Again, due to the positive ion, effective nuclear charge is more, it will drag this electron into the 3D orbital. You will get 3D3 configuration. Similarly, if you see in case of vanadium, vanadium configuration 3D3 4s2. Again, if we remove electron, we will get electronic configuration 3d3, 4s1. Again, vanadium positive charge, it can pull that electron into the 3d shell. We'll get 3d4, the configuration. So these are the ions configuration, metal ion configurations. Now you observe these three elements now, scandium, titanium, vanadium. The final electronic configuration 3d2, and this is 3d3 and 3d4. And which case the electronic configuration is more stable. Generally the stability of electronic configuration we can explain based on the two factors. One is the symmetry, second one exchange energy. Now if you see the exchange energies, the main factor influence here the stability based on the exchange energy we can explain here. In case of 3d2 we have only 2 electrons. 2 electrons means we have less exchange energy here. Exchange energy cannot significant value, it cannot stabilize this 3d2 configuration. But in case of 3d3 this is also not much significant, and we have 3 exchanges. But in case of d4 configuration we have 4 electrons, and 4 electrons can give how many exchanges? This electron can exchange to this one and this one and this one. So here 3 exchanges you can observe, and similarly the second electron also can exchange with these two, and the third electron can exchange with this. So total you can see 6 exchanges. Here released energy is more. Means what? Out of 3d2, 3d3 and 3d4 configuration is little stable. Means if you remove electron from the vanadium, we are getting the stable configuration compared to the scandium and titanium. Titanium and scandium and titanium, they are not giving the stable electronic configuration, but vanadium can give the stable electronic configuration. That is due to the more exchange energies, more amount of energy released. Now overall if you see, this is exchange energy, nothing but this is a released energy. Your energy is released. And what is this ionization energy? Ionization energy nothing but energy is gained. Energy absorbed and energy released. The difference between energy absorbed and energy released is very less here. Because released energy is more, means we are getting 3d4 configuration very easily. When we are getting this 3d4 configuration after removing electron, so we can easily remove electron from the vanadium compared to the titanium and scandium. Again we will come back to that ionization energies. Removal of electron from scandium and titanium if we compare, anyhow effective nuclear charge is more in case of titanium. That is why it has a more ionization energy. No problem. But come to the vanadium case, anyhow here effective nuclear charge is more. Apart from that, it will get the stable electronic configuration 3d4 after removing electrons. Means the required energy to remove electron is very less. Why? Because we are getting the stable electronic configuration here. So no need to take this much amount of energy in case of titanium, whatever the energy we gave here, no need to take the same energy here. Why? We are getting stable electronic configuration. Anyhow stability leads to the decreasing in energy. Stable ga form avutundante ultimately ga adi energy takkuva తీసుకుంటున్నట్టు. That is why we can see vanadium is having less ionization energy than the titanium. This is the exception. That is due to the exchange energy. Why? Because the electronic configuration will become like this in case of ions. Again you compare now vanadium and chromium also. Why? Regular trend again in between chromium and vanadium. You can check with next chromium. Chromium configuration actually 3d5, 4s1. If you remove electron, you will get 3d5 configuration, 4s0. No change at all. As usual configuration, no change in the energy values, no exchange energy change. No change means as usual, only Z effective is the dominating factor. But in case of vanadium, release exchange energy also the dominating factor. Exchange energy, effective energy, they will work opposite in nature. That is why ionization energy decreases here. Similarly, in case of manganese also, manganese we have 3d5, 4s2. After removal, we will get a 3d5, 4s1 configuration. But actually, this is a stable configuration. And if you bring electron to this 3d6, Again, you cannot observe much exchange energies here. Here also it is not a considerable amount. That is why we can see the regular trend from chromium to manganese. Iron, again from cobalt, nickel, again the exchange energies increases like in case of vanadium. That is why again the ionization energies decreases compared to the preceding element. When you come to the copper and zinc, in case of copper and zinc, again there is no effect. Why? Because they are already having D10 completely filled electronic configuration. Here only the dominating factor is effective nuclear charge, and effective nuclear charge increases the ionization energy. Like this we can see some irregular behavior from scandium to zinc. Similarly, you can see top to bottom, that is 3D to 4D, 4D to 5D. Anyhow, from 3D to 4D series. Top to bottom, atomic radii increases or metallic radii increases, ultimately ionization energy decreases. 3D series to 4D series, ionization energy decreases. Then from 4D to 5D, we know that top to bottom, the Z effective value increases, effective nuclear charge increase, but size is almost same, 4D to 5D. That is why top to bottom, 4D to 5D, ionization energy values increases slightly. You can see 5D series elements sometimes they can show more ionization energy than the 4D. Again the same region due to the Lagrange contraction, similar size, but effective nuclear charge is more. And this is about the ionization energy values. Next one, melting point. The melting point depends on the structure, means bonding nature. If the bonding nature is strong, high melting points. And now again if you see in case of 3D series, from scandium to chromium, you can observe the melting point will increase. This is important here, scandium to chromium melting point increase. Again from chromium to zinc the melting points decreases. Scandium to chromium increases, but chromium to zinc decreases. The main reason here, metallic bond. Melting points depends on the structure or metallic bond. Structure nothing but metallic bond. Here metallic bond depends on the number of unpaired electrons. We know that free electrons, number of free electrons or unpaired electrons. So as the free electrons increases, the mobile electrons, the metallic bonding nature increases. The bond between metal increases. And we know that scandium to chromium, you observed configuration D1, D2, D3 up to this is D1 configuration to D5 configuration. Means the number of unpaired electrons increasing from scandium to chromium. Means number of free electrons increases. As the number of free electrons increases, metallic bonding increases. As the metallic bonding increases, ultimately melting point increases. So here to here we can observe increasing in metallic bond. Then after chromium to zinc, there is a small exception with the manganese here, but chromium to manganese the melting point decreases, but again manganese to iron the melting point increase, again from iron to zinc it will decrease. In between we can see the manganese. This is due to the some abnormal structural behavior of manganese. It is not a perfectly defined structure. That is why manganese having some, even though having more number of unpaired electrons, we have the configuration 3d5 4s2 5 unpaired electrons, even though it is having less melting point compared to iron. That is due to the undefined structure. Undefined structure, and here we have less metallic bond strength. Metallic bond strength is very weak. Or weaker metallic bond, that is responsible for less melting point of manganese. But again, from iron to zinc, if you see the electronic configuration, iron 3d6, and then after 3d7 and 3d8, means what? The number of free electrons decreasing, means number of unpaired electrons decreasing from iron to zinc. So if the number of unpaired electrons decreases, here metallic bond strength decreases, that is why melting point decreases. We can see here weak metallic bond. From iron to zinc. So here very important, scandium to chromium, always the middle row elements, they are having higher melting points, then after it increases. The same trend you can observe in case of 4D and 5D series elements also. The middle series elements they are having, means in case of 4D series, yttrium to almost molybdenum, up to that it will increase, again from molybdenum to the cadmium it will decrease. In case of 5D series, lanthanum to tungsten it will increase, again from tungsten to the mercury it will decrease. But overall 3D, 4D, 5D, if you see top to bottom, the metallic nature increases. So if the metallic nature increases, the metallic bond strength increases, melting points increases in general. This is in general. Melting point of 3D, 4D, 5D, if you see 3D series, they are having less melting point than 4D and 5. These are the values. But even though there are exceptions, we cannot apply these for everywhere. Everywhere we have the exceptions. There is exception with the last elements of the series. The zinc, cadmium, mercury. Here zinc is having more melting point than cadmium, than mercury. This is one exception. Actually, zinc should have less, but due to the smaller size, it is having more melting point. And similarly, copper group, we can see copper is having more melting point than gold and silver. Just remember, these are the exception, but remaining cases mostly we can observe this. And the graphical representation for this, the melting points of the elements. Again, this is atomic number, their melting point. Initially, scandium has the less melting point. From scandium to chromium, the melting point will increase. But then after, this is the maximum melting point in case of chromium. There is an exception with the manganese, it will decrease due to the imperfect structure. And then after, it will increase for iron, again it will decrease. This kind of the trend we can observe here. So here the middle element of the series, the chromium, up to middle, the electronic configuration, the number of unpaired electrons increases of the up to middle of the series, the melting points increases. Again, then after it will decrease. Next, 4D series. 4D series also we can observe like this. From yttrium to the almost molybdenum, it will increase. Again, technetium, after that it will decrease and then increase and then after decrease. You can see the trend like this. Compared to zinc and cadmium is having less melting point. And then after we have the 5D series. Here middle element almost equal, no change at all. You can see for elements. Mercury. Mercury is the liquid, that is why it is having less. Mercury we have the liquid state, less melting point. But whereas the zinc and cadmium, they are the solid, they are having high melting points. And this is a tungsten. And you can see in each series, the elements, the middle elements and they are having high melting points. Is chromium, molybdenum and tungsten. Tungsten is having highest melting point in the D block. Highest melting point. Next we can see the densities. We know the density is equals to weight by volume. Again in the series, 3D series. As usual, from scandium to zinc, Z effective increases. The Z effective increases, so the size decreases. Means what? Volume decreases. Atomic volume decreases. Size nothing but atomic volume only. From scandium to zinc, volume decreases. If the volume decreases, what happens? Density values increases. In 3D series, from scandium to zinc, densities increases. Scandium to zinc, density increases. Similarly, if you see 4D and 5D, 3D, 4D, 5D, 3D to 4D, 4D to 5D, we know the top to bottom. Due to the lanthanide contraction, the size decreases. But molecular weight increases. W value, weight increases and volume, the size decreases. Ultimately, density should be increased. So 3D element, they are having less density than 4D, then 5D series elements. And this is the density values in the series 3D, 4D, 5D. And if we see almost 5D series element, they are having higher dense, less density element in the D block. Scandium is a very less density. You can observe the lowest density. Element is a scandium in the D block series. It is having the density almost 3.43 gram per ml. And the highest density we can observe for osmium. There is a iron group, iron, ruthenium, osmium. So osmium is having the density almost 22.51 gram per ml. And iridium also, among all, iridium is having highest density, but osmium, iridium, they are almost similar, almost close values, but this is 22.61 gram per ml, the density value. These two, osmium and iridium, they are high density elements overall in the periodic table itself, not only the D block, in the periodic table also, iridium is highest density. You can compare these density, you can feel that normal water, the density is 1 gram per ml. You can compare with water. This is 22.61 gram per ml. You know that even mercury, we feel little way it is, that is 13.6, but iridium, it is almost double. The density values of these you should remember, which is having highest density in the periodic table or D block. Okay, I will stop the class here. Remaining we'll see in the next class.